You are an amazing techno producer, and I want to help you reach your goals in music production. After reading the book, The Creative Act by Rick Rubin, I always ask myself, how can I help producers achieve a flow state? And what came to realization to me was that I need to put more effort into the processing of the sounds and creating samples that can drag and drop, get the vibe going as quickly as possible. When using Paradox 5, most people are going to start with a kick loop. Find a kick loop that you like, you're going to drag and drop, and you're going to pull it across. So we could go with a bass line. From there, we know we need an open hat, so let's add it as well. Drag and drop. Level. Post hats. And we're ready to start a song. Now for the drum loops in Paradox 5, I wanted to bring a new vibe. So I actually ended up acquiring Erica Synth Percons HD01. I wanted to sample and make drum samples with for the pack. Also managed to get an RD9 because the real 909 is expensive. Pretty much get tired of renting the 909 drum machine. Have to drive to Hollywood. That's the only place to get them. As well as my trusty Moog Matriarch over there to make a lot of the drums that you're going to hear in Paradox 5. With that in mind. And there's going to be a bunch of different variation on the kind of sounds that the pack will contain for you guys. You can have the build up. Many of you guys are already getting ideas, and that was the goal with all of the samples in Paradox 5. As a producer, the more I also learned to utilize samples to help me make better music, I wanted to create stuff that you guys can grab from. So what that means is that maybe you might grab something like this, but you don't want certain parts of it, so you only use it to create like something as source material. For instance, we can grab this, pitch it up, and that sounds cool, and you're like, yes! So you put it in the song.
Dancing on the
San Francisco, where's your Turk?
There's also going to be vocals in the pack.
Embracing the darkness that had once veiled my soul.
Do not fear the dark, but fear the abyss. Feel the beat, lose control.
With my vocals and also a couple of vocals from other people that wanted to be a part of the Paradox 5.
Under the lights, we become one. Shadows entwine. As we elevate, higher state of consciousness. Under the lights, we become one.
As well as the MIDI will be provided, so if you guys like some of these melodies, you'll be able to play with the MIDI. A lot of the sounds will also be from the preset, so you guys can do that. Paradox 5 will also have a sound bank, which the Paradox series is known for. And I believe there's going to be a total of about 118 presets in this one. A lot shorter than the previous versions, but the sounds are going to be a lot more beefier and a lot more processed as well in order to help you achieve a flow state. Most of the sounds are going to have mods that you guys can use to evolve the sound, to create accents, to emphasize certain parts of the beat. If you're an intermediate to advanced producer, then you already know how important this is. And if you're a beginner producer, this is something that you can start doing in your music to just make it sound so much more impactful and have the song feel more complex while still sounding simple, which is always the goal. Here I'm gliding the notes. Sounds. Let's see what we have. Have the white layer. The resonance up higher. Every sound has been modeled after a proven to work sound. And what I mean by this is that when I'm making sounds, people always ask, how do you make different sounds? I always seem to make the same sounds in Serum. The way that I do this is that I look at your favorite artists, the people at the top, and obviously we can all agree that at the top, there is some form of respect we have towards them. Also, the sounds they use, there's a respect we have. They're sought after. We want to start to look at the songs and we try to remake some of the sounds. We study them. From there, we try and recreate them. If we cannot recreate them, we turn them into something new. And if we can recreate them, we add something different, a different flavor. Okay, there's a couple of exact recreations in the pack, which is just more for proof for you guys to hear and go, okay, if they can make the sound, then the pack must be good. But remember, at the end of the day, it's about your journey, your sound, your career. Yeah, very bold to do, right? But very fun. And for anybody there that has a song where that could fit, those are moments that people will remember. Is that this guy? Which means that when I do mods, I do them so that you get more than just one sound. I like this sound. This is one inspired by Hilo and Eli Brown's Ride or Die. Now, the bass section in Paradox is one of the sections where you're going to find the processing will really help you out. Put what you need to put, hit play. Some won't need a sidechain, but this one does. So we're going to do that. But these basses will have velocity. So what that means is that you can move the velocity to create more interesting bass lines with more interesting rhythms. Like so. Bring the sound alive. It's at the kickstart. Now we're talking. Probably my favorite one in the pack. Let's add some randomized velocity. Oh my god. There's some magic there. There's also another one of my favorite ones, as the pack's going to have a couple of bass lines where you can just drag. I do recommend that you activate it though every single time so the face starts at the same position that we have designed it to start, so that the bass always sounds strong for you and for your listeners. The bass called on my mind. So when I was making the demos for Paradox, I treated them as working on songs, and I made a lot of the best sounds in the pack that way. So those are not going to be too modeled after what the meta is. Demos were made after extensive research on what people deem is good techno at the moment. So I like this one a lot. The main thing with this one is that I noticed that a lot of big techno artists that are gaining success is they widen their basses a lot, like this, which allows the center to be open for your drums and for an acid style sound. This one we can hold out. Just restart it every bar if you can for the phase to return back to normal on the bass. In the pack, there's going to be a good amount of chord stabs because chord stabs are the meta right now. As techno starts to go more into a sound design based music, a lot of people are pushing the boundaries with stabs, and stabs will usually be like a couple of notes being played together with a sound that has been heavily processed. So for these, what I've decided to do is grab my analog synths, create some layers, save them, and then use them in Don't forget to ratchet it. Just play it really fast. The pack will also contain an ear candy section, which just meant to create ear candy for your song. So there's gonna be different combinations. Like this is probably one of my favorite ones. You'll hear this a lot in the demo. Probably one of the sickest sounds in Attack. Here's one from Eli Brown and Joy Hauser, which took me a while to remake, but it's super dope because they use it. Essentially, it's a sound that's very distorted, being ran through distortion, high resonance, which creates that sick effect on the sound. And then, of course, we can add our own little interesting touch to it. Oh yes. Again, Paradox 5 is probably going to be the more sound design heavy version out of all the Paradoxes for you guys to use. Get that yayo, Tishi! I love this one too. Just for a break with a lot of tension and a sick vocal. You guys got this, bro. You guys got this. I do have some effects. I think that would make a good kick with a bit more love. I love the sound. Took a while to make, but I don't care what people say. It's effing there. We have an FX transition from the demo I added. From there, we have the leads. Now, in the lead section, my biggest with it is just that there's not enough super saw leads. But if you guys have used Paradox 1 through 3, it's a bunch of saws in essence. So in Paradox 5, there are going to be some melodic leads, but it's going to be more sound design heavy, as that is where a lot of the top tracks, a lot of top tracks are using these kind of sounds. So for example, Alarma, inspired by Umek, which is one of these kind of sounds. If you notice, so far we're like a few sounds into the pack, like for the leads, and like you see they have this sort of dystopian vibe to them. And that's like the meta of techno right now. It feels like it's either very old school sounding or it's very sound design heavy sounding. There's not a lot of super saw. This was a really dope one we just made recently during a live stream. People were requesting sounds. Again, very old sounding, but character just adds a lot, doesn't it? We're getting tired of that clean sound. Cutter sounds, you know what's up. It's just clean sounding, right? Sounds dope. One of my favorite ones that I think people are really gonna like. Let's add the Hoover. Here's a more generic friendly one. Here's a sound design heavy one. Let's Pac-Man it. I I know someone's going to use that. If you're a producer, you can also bounce down some of these sounds, right? And just make it sound dope. Oh, this one's dope. This one's more, again, meta, generic friendly. I like this one, the velocity, that you can increase the speed of or reduce. And it sounds sick. Make it wide if you want. I like this. Just use that. Get rid of the lows. Ah, probably one of my favorite generic ones. Leighton Giordiani inspired. Probably one of the most requested sounds that I've had in a while. Super nice sound. Here I have another attempt at the recreation, which didn't sound as good, but it has a similar vibe. So if you have use for it. Same vibe. King Garrick's oof. Oh. Here's one. Paradox 5 is going to be your sonic toolset to achieve a flow state while creating modern techno, and I hope that it helps you achieve your music production goals in 2024. If you guys want to support the pack, you can find it over at evilsounds.com. And as always, thank you guys so much for the support. I hope that you guys enjoy the new sounds, and as always, you have a great rest of your day.